What is up, gamers? What is the best way to win a game of Commander? Commander damage or combat damage? Burn? Aristocrats, maybe? Maybe flinging damage at someone's face?
Wrong.
The best way to win a game of Commander is gimmicks, alternate win conditions, unconventional strategies. Change the rules, move the finish line, throw away their expectations. To do that, I built a Commander deck that wins by having literally nothing. No cards in hand, no permanents, not even lands. Actually, that was a lie. It does have one thing. The cheese stands alone. Or more appropriately, its Commander legal counterpart, Baron Glory. It reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no permanents other than this enchantment and have no cards in hand, you win the game. And now our commander, Brina the Demagogue. This is a group hug commander that pretty much says, when someone attacks one of my opponents, as long as they're not the opponent with the least life, they draw a card and I put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature I control. On the surface, this is a relatively harmless commander, but in reality, it's the deck's best card advantage engine. Plus, the commander has the added benefit of bribing my opponents not to attack me. This is important because in order to win with nothing, you must first have everything. What I mean by that is that this is a combo deck. We win by having a few important pieces that allow us to activate Baron Glory's conditions. In order to do that, we need to draw cards. Lots of cards. So many cards that I often end up discarding to hand size at the end of my turns. Okay, so we know we're winning with Baron Glory, but how? Let's go over a typical early game of the deck. Turn 1. We play a land and a 1-drop creature. Turn 2. Land, second creature, and attack. This sets up the next turn so that when we have Brina out, our opponents will have uneven life totals. Turn 3. Land, Brina, and attack the two opponents that don't have the lowest life total. This draws us 2 cards and puts 2 sets of +1/+1 counters on our creatures. We generally continue this rigmarole until we have one of 2 things, a tutor or the required combo pieces. But what is the combo, you might ask? Well, it's usually these 2 cards, followed by some combination of Mind Slicer and or Cosmic Intervention. Alternatively, we can discard 5 cards to Insidious Dreams to tutor these 5 cards onto the top of our deck in this order. This brings us to the heart and soul of the deck, Academy Rector. It's a 1/2 creature for 4 mana from Urza's Destiny that reads, when this creature dies, you may exile it. If you do, search your library for an enchantment card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. By playing the Rector and then casting Karavik Spite, the end step before your turn, you're able to exile it to find Baron Glory and win on your upkeep. This happens since Karavik Spite has you discard your hand and sacrifice all permanents. Plus, this is an additional cost to cast the spell, so you can't even counter it to prevent this from happening. This combo, however, is extremely fragile. If your opponents remove Baron Glory, force you to draw a card, or donate you a permanent, you'll be sent back to the Stone Age. But that's what I love about it. Not only is it hilarious to nuke yourself, but if your opponents manage to stop your combo, that's going to be a game they will remember forever. Sometimes, though, you're so ahead on board that it would be just foolish to do this. So, what do we do now? There's 2 or 3 alternate ways to end the game. Scroll of Fate plus Phage the Untouchable, Lazotep Quarry plus Doomsday Excruciator, or Ulamog the Defiler plus Emperor of Bones. I tend not to go for the Ulamog win line because it tends to be a lot of salt. With Scroll of Fate, we can manifest Phage face down, and if you attack someone with a manifested 2/2 and they do not block, you're able to flip it up instant speed for the low cost of 3 generic and 4 black mana. Another way to win is by casting Doomsday Excruciator and sacrificing it to Lazotep Quarry before your next upkeep so you don't draw any more cards. This card turns opponents' card advantage engines against them by causing them to deck out. Finally, we have Emperor of Bones and Ulamog the Defiler. If you exile Ulamog the Defiler and then activate the adaptability before you declare attacks, you'll enter with 10 +1/+1 counters on it, meaning you'll be able to attack anyone for 17 damage and Annihilator 10. That should be good enough to seriously cripple any opponent. Alternatively, you can always win via commander damage and combat damage, but that's not as fun. Now that we've covered the game plan as well as some of the combos, we'll go over some of the synergies in the deck. First off, we have the Flicker package. Cards such as Felia and Eldrazi Displacer are excellent ways to generate advantage, especially with powerful ETB effects such as Shieldred and Solitude. You can also flicker manifested cards from Skull of Fate or reanimated cards from Emperor of Bones to remove finale counters on them, or even Emperor of Bones itself so you can adapt it again. Next up is our reanimation package. We only have 3 main reanimation targets: Ulamog the Defiler, Mr. Negative, and Summon Knights of Round. Additionally, 3 of the 6 reanimation spells in our deck are attached to lands. The other 3 are Emperor of Bones, Animate Dead, and Afterlife from the Loam. I chose these because they are all very efficient at what they aim to do, while simultaneously fulfilling other purposes in the deck. For me, Animate Dead tends to be better than Reanimate because it has no loss of life, as well as being a recurable permanent. At last is our ramp package. It's a pretty standard white ketchup ramp package, alongside lands that sacrifice themselves or lead to me having fewer lands than my opponents. If you're an avid viewer of the MTG Goldfish Commander Class podcast, you might notice where some of my inspiration came from. This deck is my pet deck. I'm constantly changing it, tinkering with it, and adjusting it. Only very recently did I buy all but one card on the deck list, and after having it proxied for so long, it felt great to have it in paper. I play the deck 90% of the time and it has never gotten stale for me. It is very grindy and pretty resilient to removal, so if the commander gets removed too often, it can struggle. If you would like to give me suggestions of what to change in the deck, I'm all ears. Otherwise, I hope I have inspired you to try out a gimmick deck for yourself and see what you think.